Greetings, my saplings. Okay, so in today's video, we are going to be discussing the Jordan 4 Levi's. To be more specific, evidently, we are going to be talking about the black pair as well as the white pair. But to be more specific, like always in these How to Cop guides, we are going to be mentioning some release info, how to cop them, and of course, some resale predictions for these shoes. And at the end of the video, I did want to update you guys on some new info I found on the Yeezy 350 V2. To begin with, these already released in a lot of Europe retailers, and for some of those, I did tweet out some old raffles that you guys in Europe were able to join. However, now, those of us in the USA, and those of us in other countries as well, because a lot of these raffles do have worldwide shipping, will have a chance to cop on June 30th. Now, the retail for these shoes will be $225, and yes, there are actually going to be grade school sizes now for these, and the price for the grade school ones I hear are going to be $200. So normally when I see that there's going to be grade school sizes, I usually assume that there's going to be more stock than the first release. However, there have been rumors, or at least according to one source that I've read, that the white pair is supposed to be the most limited out of all three Levi's. This obviously includes the initial pair that released. But if I'm being honest, guys, I still think that all of these are going to be pretty limited. So with the release info out of the way, let's just jump into how to cop them. Let's talk about how you could get your hands on a pair of these Levi's Jordan 4s. So to start off, we're going to be mentioning some first come first serve releases that I found, and later after that, we'll talk about some raffles. So to kick it off, at 3 a.m. Eastern Time on the 30th, One Block Down is confirmed to be getting these. I say this because they do have a product page up. You can find both colorways on One Block Down. Not only that, but I do want to mention that One Block Down doesn't do a queue or anything fancy like that. Just a simple first come first serve, that's it. Hence, the only tips I would essentially give you would be to use Command R on Mac or F5 on Windows to refresh, so you can keep your mouse hovering over the size selection. When you're facing bots, that extra second might actually really help you. And of course, use autofill. Moving on to the next first come first serve. This one you actually have the ability to camp out for if you're in Germany. Overkill will be doing a first come first serve. Now, if they have leftover pairs, they will be listed on the Overkill site. Now, you may have surmised by now when it comes to these limited shoes, they aren't going to have leftover pairs. However, if they do happen to have leftover pairs, they will be listed on the Overkill site, and it will be through a first come first serve process. Now, regarding Nike sneakers, because you know there is a chance that Nike sneakers could do a drop for these. However, in my opinion, I think that it is very unlikely that this will occur. Perhaps we may see a draw pop up on the 29th, or maybe even early in the morning on the 30th. Hey, we never know. We saw that happen with the Zoom Flies where it popped up really late. But it is also possible that they may do a surprise first come first serve drop, or also known as a Leo. The reason I want to mention this to you guys is because, hey, I want you guys to be 100% prepared. I know a lot of you guys took L's on that UNC drop just because you simply had no idea that they dropped. Well, to make sure that you know, I've ran through this a couple of times in previous videos, but just to refresh your memory or for any new guys, make sure you download the J23 app. They will send out a notification on your phone when something like this occurs. But just a disclaimer, that app does cost money, so if you don't want to purchase it, it's completely fine. Although it is $2, so I found that it's pretty useful. I figured why not purchase it. But if you don't want to pay the money, that's very fair. Soul Links also mentioned something on their Twitter, so all you would have to do is turn on Twitter notifications for Soul Links. And finally, the last way to find out would be to add a page monitor and set Nike sneakers as one of the sites to monitor. You can have emails go to you whenever something changes. I do find that a lot of the free monitors, such as Visual Ping or Page Monitor, do tend to be like a minute or so delayed. So I personally really like J23 app and Soul Links, but if you don't trust either of those sources, definitely go ahead and get yourself a page monitor. So with all the first come first serves out of the way, and I really do think that there will be more first come first serves, I'll make an updated video regarding all these other first come first serves that come up, as well as other raffles that come up. But as of now, let's start talking about the raffles. So the first raffle we'll be talking about is the End Clothing Raffle. One thing to note about End Clothing, and most of these raffles actually, this is going to be $259, which is evidently more than $225, although I do still think this is going to be worth it, considering that resale will presumably be a little higher than this. And in most of these videos, I do mention to you how to get multiple entries into these raffles. But I know that a lot of you longtime subscribers already know how to do this, so I guess you could say this is only for the new guys. So I'll leave a time up here to go check out if you already know how to get multiple entries. so you could skip to the part where I just start mentioning all the others. But with that, let's get right into it. So for end clothing, what you're actually going to have to do to make multiple entries, and we'll be referring back to this with the other raffles, you will have to make new accounts. Now when it comes to making the accounts, first of all, you should create a random name, because the name only matters when you're connecting a payment method, which happens a little later. Then it is also your choice whether you want to use brand new email addresses that you create. It only takes a couple of minutes or so to create, or what you can actually do is use a +1, +2 jig, where essentially you just add a plus and a random number, there's no cap to it, right before the @gmail.com. Hence, all the emails will go to that main email, but the algorithm sees it as separate email addresses. I don't suggest this just because end clothing does require different payment methods, so it's not like you're going to be making 100 different entries, so might as well just use legitimate email addresses just to be safe. Then when it comes to your birthday, I do, just to be safe, recommend making a random birthday that is over 18 years of age, because there's no verification through this. Now after you've completed this, you are going to have to go to add address, and when you go to add the address, create a random phone number. I would suggest creating some type of a realistic area code, but there is no verification process with the phone number, so it realistically doesn't matter. Regarding the address, what you're gonna have to do is, first of all, I suggest changing the last word of your address. For instance, if it's road or street, you could tamper with it a little, so you could abbreviate it, you could spell it wrong, just so the characters are different. Then I also suggest that if you live in a home, this won't work if you live in an actual apartment, but if you live in a house, what you can do is add a second line and add a 1C or a 1B or a 2A, because this will make it look like you are in a separate apartment building, even though when they ship to you, they'll just drop it off at your house. And finally, for end clothing, like I mentioned previously, you are unfortunately going to need different payment methods for this. You could borrow payment methods from your wife. You could say ask your mom or dad to borrow their credit card number. And you can also feel free to check out privacy.com. So with end clothing out of the way, now you essentially know the basics of how to get multiple entries. We're going to have to be using that same premise on multiple other raffles. For instance, for Foot District, you see it's in a Google Doc format, but most of the stuff is the same. The only difference is these are going to be 250 euros, unfortunately, so it's really up to you if you want to pay that price. I think it is going to be pretty close to what resale is going to be, but still less than resale in my opinion. You can also find both colors on here, just like on end. The only difference here is that you are going to have to follow them on Instagram. I don't ever recommend creating fake accounts. What I instead recommend is having a friend follow them for you and then unfollowing them when the raffle's finished. And like I mentioned, you are going to also have to make an account just like end, and you guys know what to do with the info. Luckily though, you don't need payment when you're signing up. You're only going to have to use a PayPal when you actually win the raffle. Next up, the Foot Patrol app is doing a raffle. However, I'm not exactly sure if it's only in the United Kingdom. I think that they're shipping to multiple countries. I might be incorrect on this. Then also the Foot Patrol website is also doing a raffle. Luckily for this, you don't need a payment method and you also don't need an Instagram. Now, the links for all of these raffles will be on my Twitter like they always are, so it makes it super easy for you guys to enter. All you guys gotta do is click the link, go back to my Twitter, click another link, etc. And now I am predicting that more of these raffles will pop up, more first come first serve releases, more product pages will pop up as we get later into the week when we edge closer to the 30th. I'll keep you guys 100% updated, so make sure you turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on any updates like that. Now, regarding resale predictions, I do think that these are both going to be profitable. However, these aren't the original pair, so I'm not expecting these to sell for as much as the blue pair went for, even though one source stated that the white pair is going to be the most limited. I think white will sell for more than the black, but I still don't think the white is going to sell for as much as the blue pair. But in the end, I think they're going to sell out, obviously, and I also do think that these are going to be pretty profitable. So now, with the Levi Jordan 4s out of the way, let's move on to the Yeezy 350 V2 Butter. So the first thing I wanted to mention to you guys is that Adidas confirmed is now live. Unfortunately, though, it's only for New Jersey and New York. I don't know why they're doing it this way. Usually it's like New York and at least like California. And for a shoe that is highly stocked like this, not exactly sure why they decided to do this. But hey, if you're on the East Coast and you're willing to drive there, or if you're even in the zone, make sure you sign up before it's too late. Also, another thing is that there are so many raffles that have been announced. Most of them haven't gone live yet, so I'm not going to be making the video for them right here. First of all, I don't want the video to go on forever. Also, like I just mentioned, not all of them are live yet. So I will be making that updated video with all those other first come first serve releases. releases with all the raffles and stuff like that. So I'll make that video a little later. And now finally, the biggest update I wanted to give you guys is, after making that entire video yesterday where I mentioned my resale predictions, I'm going to have to change it, unfortunately, because Yeezy Mafia just stated that stock will be doubled on them, so it essentially made that whole video pointless. I mean, it was somewhat entertaining to watch. It was also fun for me to make. But those resale predictions are now incorrect. I am predicting that these will sell for around what the Beluga 2.0s initially sold for, being $300 to $350. And yes, I know that stock is lower than the Beluga 2.0s and blue tints, but I do think that the Beluga 2.0s and blue tints had a little more demand than these do. Also, I'm just trying to keep it as conservative as possible. I'm trying to play it safe like always. But with that, I'm going to conclude today's video, guys. Make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you stay updated on the Yeezys, so you stay updated on the Jordan Levi's, any upcoming off-white shoes. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, if you perhaps learned a thing or two. But with that, I'll leave you guys. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you guys later.